X-Men.
All right, we find ourselves at the Weapon X facility for whatever reason. Slight team change up. Rogue is back, and she has a brand new costume. Look at that. I actually like this one. The hair's a little weird. Like, she's all party in the front and formal in the back, which is kind of weird. But we got Rogue back, and Scarlet Witch is also back. And then I decided to keep Bishop. And, of course, the lovely Storm. I guess we'll start off by talking to old Professor Xavier here.
Welcome, my friend. What can I do for you?
You can stop that horrible whining noise in the background. That would be great. How did Apocalypse create such a large army?
We have Mr. Sinister to thank for that. Their military is comprised entirely of clones known as Infinites. Thousands are manufactured every day.
Clones?
Yes, they're aided by cybernetic implants and an impeccable genetic structure. Infinites are not to be taken lightly.
Alright, I turned the camera around, so now that noise is nowhere near as loud. Just don't put horrible noises in your games that just repeat over and over again. Please. Why aren't we freeing New York City?
Magneto and I felt it most important to stop Apocalypse from attacking other cities.
But as we speak, he's digging in, creating better defense around New York.
I understand your concern, but we cannot allow Apocalypse to acquire additional territories. Were he successful, he would command an almost unending supply of resources from which to create his army.
Thank you, Professor Xavier.
I look forward to seeing you again.
Yeah, it does seem kind of weird. They attack New York and then we go to Canada. I don't know. This game, the story doesn't flow as well as the first game, I think. I think the first game actually had a better story, but this game has, like, better everything else. One of the big things it suffers from is not having a central character like Magma in the first game. So the plot kind of has to go on without taking any specific character that you control into consideration. It kind of makes it kind of loose. But let's talk to Wolvie.
Well, ain't this just a cozy getaway?
I imagine you're not too happy about being here at the Weapon X facility.
You imagine right. This place gives me the creeps like nothing else in this world.
Why do you hate the Weapon X facility? And why am I asking a stupid question like this? They tortured him and did all kinds of horrible things to him. Why do you think he hates it?
This is where they worked on me. Against my will. They changed me. Did all kinds of crazy stuff.
What happened to you here?
I was one of the guinea pigs they experimented on. They wanted to turn me into some kind of ultimate killing machine. That's how I wound up with adamantium covering my bones.
So how did you get away?
They made the mistake of thinking they had me under control. It was a fatal mistake on their part.
So you broke out of here?
After letting them know I wasn't a satisfied customer, yeah, I broke out and headed into the wilderness.
What happened after you ran into the wilderness?
I was half out of my mind with pain, so I don't remember a whole lot. But when I woke up, I found myself in the cabin of James and Heather Hudson.
Who were the Hudsons?
They were some real good friends who helped me heal up. Then they got me on board Alpha Flight. But that's a story for another time.
Thanks, Wolverine.
Yeah, sure. Whatever.
Okay, so comic book check, because we haven't looked at our comics in a while that we acquired. We got a Cyclops one, nice. Gambit with a blindfold on, that's interesting. Got some, is that Sunfire and Rogue, looks like? What is going on there? I can't even tell. X-Man. That just says X-Man. Wolverine 1 we already saw. And Bishop we already saw. Hello. Oh, Heather Hudson. Wolverine mentioned you.
How would you like to know the location of Apocalypse's infinite factory?
What's an infinite factory?
That's where Apocalypse creates his army of clones.
His military is comprised entirely of clones?
Yes. If you destroy the factory and the supercomputer that runs it, Apocalypse's war effort would be seriously hampered. But in return for the location, I'd need a favor of you.
And what would that be?
Department H sent my husband, James MacDonald Hudson, on a mission to the Infinite Factory. I haven't heard from him since. Please, could you see if he needs help?
Help, Guardian? Sure, we can do that.
Thank you. Use the X-Jet to get to the Infinite Factory. If you'd like more information, use the briefing computer near Professor Xavier.
Alright, so that's a new mission briefing. Who are you?
I'm Heather Hudson. My codename is Vindicator. I'm a member of Alpha Flight, along with my husband, James MacDonald Hudson.
Isn't he known as the Guardian?
Yes, both of us work for Department H.
What's Department H?
It's a top-secret agency for Canada's Ministry of Defense. It's where my group, Alpha Flight, calls home.
Wasn't Wolverine a part of Alpha Flight a few years back?
Yes, he was, but we had some personality troubles and Wolverine decided to leave.
What are infinites?
They are the soldiers that make up the army of Apocalypse. Thousands are generated every day.
Were they created by Apocalypse?
No, they're actually the work of an evil genius named Mr. Sinister. He created their genetic blueprint, and he was the one who created the cybernetic implants that make them so incredibly fast and strong.
Who's Mr. Sinister? Even though I've already met him and I know who he is.
He's a brilliant geneticist born over 150 years ago. He found a kindred spirit in Apocalypse, since they both were advocates for survival of the fittest. Eventually, Apocalypse granted Sinister immortality.
And they've been working together ever since?
Yes. Oddly enough, Sinister is one of the few people who makes Apocalypse uneasy.
Why is that?
Sinister is a master of playing both ends against the middle, and because of that, Apocalypse has never been completely certain of Sinister's loyalty.
Thanks for the info, Heather.
Come back anytime.
Alright, so we can take the X-Jet and leave. We're not gonna do that, though, because we gotta get our mission briefing, too. Also, do a quick run through here. We've got living quarters. Those are just kind of floating there with no assistance from anything. That's kind of weird. You got a bunch of empty rooms. Kind of like the X-Mansion in the first game. A million rooms that were empty and served no purpose. And who do we have over here? Oh, it's Angel Hongel.
It took a lot of searching, and more than a little not-so-gentle persuasion, but I managed to locate the core.
What's that?
A nuclear plant in Ontario, Canada. It's Apocalypse's primary source of energy. If you could disable it, Apocalypse's military would be starving for power.
Sounds like security there is going to be very tough.
Which is exactly why Forge is going to guide you through the core over the radio. He wanted me to give you this transceiver. He'll explain why later. To get to the core, you'll have to use the X-Jet. If you want more info, go see the mission computer.
Oh, okay, random level up. Who runs the core?
Some mutant named Sugar Man. He's supposed to be one seriously rough character. Nobody wants to talk about him.
Come on, how bad can a guy be who's named Sugar Man? That is a really dumb name.
He's tough enough that Apocalypse was willing to leave him in charge of their primary source of energy.
That's like worse than Calendar Man from Batman. How did you find out about the core?
I tracked down a man named Sebastian Shaw in New York City. He's the leader of the Hellfire Club.
The Hellfire Club is a group of the X-Men's worst enemies.
At the moment, they have as little use for Apocalypse as we do, so Shaw was willing to give me the information.
What were you doing talking to Sebastian Shaw?
These are strange times, I know. But Shaw has spies everywhere. If anyone would know about the core, it'd be him.
I'm sure Shaw didn't just give the information away for free.
No, he didn't. But that's the nice thing about being as wealthy as I am. Sometimes it comes in real handy.
You've been taking a lot of chances lately.
What are you talking about? We've all been. It's the only way to stop Apocalypse.
You shouldn't have gone into the Cersei tunnels alone, and you shouldn't be dealing with Shaw. Don't you realize you're no good to us if you're hurt or captured? And this is in no way some kind of weird foreshadowing to things that are going to happen in the future.
You worry about yourself. I'll be fine.
Take care, Angel.
Oh, I always do.
Alright, so I guess we just have the X-Jet left. It looks like we talked to everybody that needed a talking to. How did they get the X-Jet down here? Actually, now that I think about it. Who's this? Oh, is this Havoc? Oh god, it is. In case one Summers boy wasn't enough.
Hey, it's been a while, hasn't it?
It's been so long, your voice sounds different. Hi, Alex. You're certainly a welcome addition to the team. Are you our pilot?
Yeah, I'll be using the X-Jet to take you to any of the distant missions. Just use the X-Jet to pick a location.
Who are you, even though I just called you by your first name?
My name's Alex Summers. I'm the brother of Scott Summers. You might know him as Cyclops.
Never heard of him. And you're a mutant?
Yeah, I can discharge waves of force from my hands. But unlike Scott, I have full control of my ability.
Why aren't you going on missions with us?
I'd like to, but there's a little concern about trust.
Why aren't you trusted?
You know perfectly well why.
'Cause you turned on everyone? Us and the Brotherhood? You turned on the X-Men to go to the Brotherhood and then turned on the Brotherhood to go to the X-Men, right? That's right. You worked against the X-Men.
Okay, so maybe I helped the Brotherhood for a little while. But I thought it was for the good of mutant kind.
Asteroid M, the Brotherhood's base, almost smashed into New York City because of that little scheme.
Hey, if you remember, I tried to stop them. Anyway, I think it's going to be quite a while before I'm allowed to be a full member of the team again.
We'll talk later, Havoc.
Come back anytime you want me to fly you somewhere.
And then before I forget, let's go get our mission briefings. I guess we have 2 of them because we just picked up 2 missions, so. Let's start with the core one.
Thanks to the efforts of Angel, we've located Apocalypse's primary source of energy in Ontario, Canada. It's a nuclear power plant known as the core.
So this core is to be our next target?
Yes, Mr. Wagner. Our goal will be to render that facility useless to Apocalypse.
All right, finally we get a fun mission. I ain't never busted up a nuclear power plant before. That ought to make a lot of noise when it goes off.
I'm sorry, Juggernaut, but we have to be a bit more careful than that. Charles is adamant that we avoid a nuclear meltdown.
Don't that sound just like my little brother? Always taking the fun out of everything.
Once the team arrives at the core, Forge will take them through very specific steps to shut down the facility.
Hold on a tick. How do we know this ain't some kind of trap? You know, like Destiny was saying, a team member is gonna betray us.
Are you suggesting Angel would send us into a trap?
Oh, I'm not suggesting it. I'm saying it right out loud. Angel might be handing us over to Apocalypse.
You know, the little guy's got a point.
Ah, that is preposterous. Angel would never do such a thing.
But what about that Shaw bloke Angel got the info from? Maybe he's working for Apocalypse, and he's sending us to our doom.
What would you have us do, Toad? Trust no one? Never leave on another mission?
There's a thought.
No, I will not allow us to fall into the trap of second-guessing every action. We're going to the core, and that's final.
Never thought I would agree with Toad, but, I mean, he did get the information from somebody that doesn't like the X-Men at all. That's kind of a red flag, right? Like your enemy kind of tells you to go off. It just seems like a trap.
Which mission briefing would you like?
Alright, let's do the Infinite Factory.
Thanks to Department H, we have the location of the factory that produces Apocalypse's army.
His army's produced?
Yes. Infinites are clones created from vats of genetic material and then enhanced with cybernetic implants.
Wow. And thousands of those get cranked out every day? It's no wonder Apocalypse had such an easy time attacking New York City and Genosha.
If we were to disable that factory, we'd strike a severe blow to Apocalypse. His unending supply of soldiers would dry up.
So, what's the price?
I beg your pardon?
Department H told us the location. What do they want in return, huh? Money, information, manpower. I know those boys, and they don't work for free.
Is Wolverine always this distrustful?
Bah. It takes him a while to trust someone.
Yeah, usually 4 or 5 years.
Go ahead and make your jokes. But I got plenty of reasons to suspect Department H. I can't tell you the number of times they tried to force me back into their little family.
Department H did make a request of us.
I knew it. I just knew it.
They asked if we could look for James MacDonald Hudson while we were at the factory. He was sent there a while ago to do reconnaissance, and he hasn't been heard from since.
They got James.
We can't be certain.
Then we better get there pronto and find out.
As you wish, Wolverine. Team, the best of luck to you at the Infinite Factory.
Okay, so that one's pretty straightforward. Go to the factory and stop it. Take us to the core. Yes.